Welcome in to the post show for SummerSlam, that wrestling show. Mike Wendt, Rachel Holt joined me.
Hi.
First mess up of the night. Great.
Well, it was a late one, and we did watch 6 hours of wrestling.
It's been an evening. It's been a day, a nice long day. But thanks for joining me, first of all.
Of course.
This is great.
Thanks for having me.
How did you feel about the 6 hours of SummerSlam that you just experienced?
Well, full disclosure, this was my first time sitting through all of this from start to finish, so I really didn't know what I was getting myself into. Mm-hmm. It was exciting, and there was a couple matches where I was jaw dropped. I thought someone had really gotten hurt. Everyone was like, no, stop freaking out over here. But
right.
I thought it was a great show.
Made a fan out of you.
Yeah, I think I might be a fan.
One and done, got a fan.
Hey.
That's awesome.
It only took 6 hours.
Right? See, that's what we need. We need to sit them down, force them to be fans.
You know what's interesting is they're going up against Game of Thrones tonight, and I heard it was a crazy episode, so
DVRs.
I know how that did. Of course.
That's what a DVR is for. But I mean, let's get into it because it is the post show, so we're not going to do a full-blown, hour long because we just did 6 hours. We don't need to put everybody through another hour of this stuff. Let's get right into it because there was 8 titles on the line, a bunch of changes. Right off the bat, the Cruiserweight title, which was in the pre-show, it was Neville, it was Akira Tozawa, and the title changed hands once again, going back to the king of the Cruiserweights, Neville.
What was up with these title changes, by the way? Were you expecting this going into it?
Honestly, I wasn't.
Okay.
I was shocked. I was expecting a couple, just to keep the excitement going, but almost every title, except for the 2 big ones, which we'll get to, changed hands. It was fun. It keeps it interesting.
Oh yeah.
A title change always keeps things interesting. But I mean, what would you say your takeaway was from the Cruiserweights? I mean, a lot of flips, a lot of dives, a lot of action.
Lots of action. Now, remind me which one this is. I mean, come on, I'm a new fan.
That was one of the earlier ones. So
okay.
That was very early. We're just going to go in order. Just keep it chronological. Keep the notes in check. But Neville, of course, king of the Cruiserweights, lost the title on Monday. Immediately comes back and gets it. So I feel a lengthy second run for Neville. That's what I feel.
And Mike, I should say that we do have this up on our iPad right now, so fans that are all riled up about this, I mean, if you want to comment and make a comment to Mike or ask a question, feel free to do so. I'll be checking here and trying to make sure that you get those right away.
Live feedback.
Yes.
I dig it. I do dig it. And then, of course, also on the pre-show, the SmackDown Tag Team titles, New Day versus the Usos. I felt match of the night. Which is weird because I am. I felt it was match of the night, and it's unfortunate it was on the pre-show. It wasn't even on the main show. So, I mean, the crowd was still just filing into the arena.
Yeah.
They missed match of the night, I feel. Those that didn't make it in, but those of us, of course, watching on the network, saw match of the night. Again, another title changed hands.
These fans, by the way, I wonder how much they spend on food and drinks.
Too much.
Per night.
Too much.
They're in there for 6 hours.
Too much. Yeah, that's like 3 square meals.
Yes.
it's a full-time job.
They're in there for a while. So I want to ask you, I mean, what was the most exciting thing about this for you?
For me, I was thinking about it the whole night. What's going to be like the moment of the night? And I can just say, that main event. That main event that we just finished watching.
Crazy. It
was insane. It was everything you'd want a main event with these 4 superstars to be. It was like over 1,200 pounds of mass in the ring, beating the crap out of each other.
Each guy roughly 300 pounds, right?
Roughly, yeah.
And there was blood. When I first saw a chair flying, I thought, what am I watching here? Am I a new fan? I think I'm locked in and loaded on this. I mean,
steps were thrown around. Brock Lesnar was put through 2 tables, then had another table put on top of him. Stretchered away, the drama. Oh, the drama. And of course, he comes back. Braun Strowman just looks like a grizzly bear shaved down.
Crazy.
It was insane. Samoa Joe I felt played the punching bag of the night. He needed somebody to beat up. Roman Reigns did what Roman Reigns does. He played Roman Reigns. The crowd reacted as they were going to react to Roman Reigns. But, I mean, I felt that the match of that match, with 4 guys in the ring, it was all about telling the story of Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman, just a grizzly bear and just a big-ass gorilla just getting together, throwing each other through tables, throwing steps at each other. It was it was everything I hoped it would be.
See, I was curious. I asked you before because we've been covering a lot of UFC stuff, and of course, John Jones has been calling Brock Lesnar out. He wants to fight this guy. Lesnar's done UFC stuff before, so I asked you, hey, are they trying to maybe transition this guy to the UFC? I didn't really think that he was going to hold on to his title, and you said, I think he's got it.
That's what I thought. You know, it was one of those things. If he lost, the stipulation was that they said if Brock Lesnar loses, Brock and Paul are leaving WWE, which everybody thought, okay, well, that must mean he's going to UFC to fight John Jones. I was under the impression that they're going to push that till later. I know, you know, Vince McMahon, Dana White, two guys that don't mind making money. So when you can push it around WrestleMania, oh, absolutely. So if you can push a Brock Lesnar fight on UFC to around WrestleMania time, that worked good for both companies. Everybody makes money, everybody wins. So I do see Brock Lesnar fighting in UFC, but I don't see it till next year.
Okay. Yeah, you called that before.
Yeah.
So we're getting some comments.
Okay.
Rachel Mims says, so glad Dean and Seth won. That was a crazy one.
That was one of our hot takes from the pre-show this morning or this afternoon. But, you know, the second part of that did not happen. We were expecting to see Seth and Dean come back at the end and form the entire Shield with Roman Reigns and help him win. But you know what? That's why there's tomorrow night on Raw. You got to be watching on Raw.
Oh,
see
hey,
if it happens.
they keep you hooked.
That's just it.
So Dean Ambrose is now the 8th Grand Slam champion in WWE history. How about that?
There you go. Look at you with the stats.
I can read off of paper.
Right?
I don't necessarily know all the info like you do.
But yes, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, new tag team champions on Raw. Can't beat it.
Okay.
Another title change. There you go. Beats Sheamus and Cesaro.
So we talked about what the best match of the night was. For you, what was the worst match?
It was Big Show versus Big Cass with Enzo Amore up in the shark cage.
That was weird, right? The shark cage hanging out. They could have done so much more with it.
The whole thing was weird, and then he stripped down and greased up and slid out and immediately got knocked out.
The second he took off his pants and got into the boxers and started putting oil on himself,
that's when you got hooked as a fan.
That's almost when I left. I was like, I'm done with this. But yeah,
what has Mike gotten me into?
that was weird.
It was. It was weird even for someone who knows the storyline and knows it was just like, come on, is this really where we're going? Okay, and then he pulls out the baby oil. Really, is this where we're going? Then he slides out. Okay, what's he gonna do? Immediately he's knocked out.
Yeah.
So he did nothing.
Anticlimactic.
He did nothing. The whole match was anticlimactic. That was. I mean, there was hits and misses throughout the night. I mean, when you get a 6-hour show, you're gonna have hits and misses. That was one of them. I felt Randy Orton Rusev was another one.
Okay.
It was a miss. But it was a miss from the start because it was one of those matches that I felt was, I didn't understand why it was there. Came out of nowhere, as I say, RKO out of nowhere, but it came out of nowhere on Tuesday. Match really never got started, and it ended before it started. So I was like, okay. Get him a payday.
Move on.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on.
Bring on the next hour.
That's exactly right.
Now, of course, there's 13 matches in total, so there's plenty of different storylines that are developing, and they're setting things up for the future. I mean, is there an interesting storyline that you kind of observed and you're excited to see moving forward?
There was. It was in the United States Championship match. It was AJ Styles and Kevin Owens with Shane McMahon as the referee. And this whole thing, I feel, is building to Shane McMahon fighting Kevin Owens in the fall at Survivor Series. They tried to play, you know, Shane was an equal opportunity offender in this match.
He did a good job this time. Yeah,
he wasn't letting anybody push him around, and anybody that did push him around, which both of them did, he pushed back. So they all got their shots in, but I feel at the end of the day, that's what they're building towards. That's going to be an interesting story to watch on SmackDown. And I mean, on Raw, what's going to happen out of the main event picture? What's going to happen with Brock Lesnar? What's going to happen when, you know, Braun Strowman, obviously, those two just, I mean, you can print money with those guys.
Okay, I'm looking at the comments here. Someone says, glad Mahal won. What's your take on that? Oh, by the way, the violin heading into this.
Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance.
My favorite part of the night, I think.
Yes, the WWE Championship, and I was very happy about this.
Okay.
This was something that Liam and myself on the pre-show disagreed on. He really wanted Shinsuke Nakamura to come out the winner. I felt that they've built this champion. They've built Jinder Mahal as this credible champion. Well, here's his first test, and he passed. He passed it. I felt Shinsuke Nakamura was the test that they were going to do to add legitimacy to his title run, to add credibility to his title run, And like I said, he passed the test. I was very happy with that. Plus, as if you watch the show, we've been hoping for Mojo Rawley to come back and get that revenge back on Jinder Mahal, because I want to see Mojo and Jinder. And if Jinder still has the title, that means Mojo has a chance to get the title, and that means then Gronk is going to be involved. So the whole thing is just great for all of us.
It lines up down the road.
There
Okay,
you go.
I'm reading comments. Mike Gamel, couple highlights, but no Bailey heel turn. Lesnar is still champ, and the Shield still isn't really the Shield yet. Just a so-so pay-per-view. Do you agree?
Bailey's injured,
Okay.
so there couldn't really be a Bailey heel turn because we don't know when she's going to be back. I agree 100% on the Shield thing. As I said, I was hoping the Shield was going to come back. When Liam said on the pre-show he wanted the Shield to come back together at the end and help Roman win, I'm like, that's actually a great way to do it. But it didn't happen. You win some, you lose some. There were some ups, some downs, and yeah, it wasn't that wahoo moment, but we got hints of a wahoo moment for down the line.
Okay, well, I was hooked. I mean, it's my first time, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but you also told me before that sometimes they can go until 1 a.m., so I was just happy it ended at 11, on time.
They kept it on time. That was the good thing. Yeah, I was telling you 2 WrestleManias ago, I think it was like 12:35, 12:40 that it wrapped up, and I'm like, at that point, I mean, and I didn't have to do a post show that night, so I was well into a bottle of Jack Daniels. I was just like, okay, it's 1 a.m., can we just finish?
See, I just made a run to the vending machine. I had chips on my desk. I had yogurt. I was ready to go for the long haul. If that was
you had your endurance.
There
you go.
I was ready. Okay, so looking at some more comments here. Jeff Wood says, with Banks winning, sets up a Bailey-Banks match with Banks turning heel.
Sasha Banks, yeah, another title change. Sasha Banks beats Alexa Bliss for the women's title. And I agree. I think Bailey and Sasha Banks the year before, was it, at NXT TakeOver, put on match of the year.
Okay.
Those two women put on a match of the year. They have it in them to do it again. They need to build the right story because the story they're telling right now isn't the right story for the two of them to meet. But if they can, I would love to see, Sasha Banks is a natural bad guy.
Yeah.
She is such a natural bad guy. I would love to see her take that role on and just really lean into it.
She's badass, by the way. I told you, as a new fan,
so badass.
That's my girl.
Absolutely. Yeah. And local. There you go. And from Boston, so there you go.
I didn't even know that, and I like her even more now.
Oh, yeah. She got her start right here from Boston, Snoop Dogg's cousin. So she's got all kinds of cool connections, but I would love to see a Bailey-Sasha Banks thing down the line. Absolutely.
Me too. That's my girl now. I root for her. Okay, so most epic entrance. Or I already told you I like the violins.
I mean, Shinsuke Nakamura and the violins is always great, especially building up to a title match in the main event. I thought it was great to see the Demon Finn Balor again. I thought the entrance was great. I mean, that
was scary.
I mean, that was a match made out of horror movies. And the entrances, that was one of those matches I was like, it was a good match. It was a decent, functional match for a pay-per-view, but I felt the entrances were better than the match itself. So, that being said.
Who needs Game of Thrones when you got stuff like that going on pay-per-view?
Seriously. What else happened on the show that we can talk about here? Oh, the SmackDown Women's Championship changed. Natalya beating Naomi. Natalya finally winning it. Again, someone I couldn't be happier to have a title on them. Natalya from the legendary Hart family, the only female graduate of the Hart Dungeon. She has been the staple of the women's division through so many different incarnations of the women's division. I've had the pleasure of talking to Natalya on many occasions, and she's just she lives and breathes the business, and finally giving her that title and not having Carmella come in and cash in, which everybody thought was going to happen, especially when she showed up on the pre-show. There was that chance that they were going to spoil it for her. I was thrilled, absolutely thrilled that they let Natalya keep the title.
Well, I'm glad you said that because Tom Sharon just said Natalya in a Charlotte Flair match soon?
Oh, God, yeah. Another match of the year from NXT a few years back. It was Charlotte and Natalya. They put on a clinic. And again, you asked me, I believe off air, who my favorite wrestler was. Charlotte Flair, right now. Okay. There it is.
I wasn't sure if you could give me an answer.
I had to think about it, and I was looking at this, and Charlotte wasn't on the show, but I am a huge fan of Charlotte Flair. I think she is everything a wrestler should be. And her versus Natalya for the title, printing money. Absolutely printing money.
Thank you. And by the way, we really appreciate your comments coming in. Clearly, people are still up and they're engaged and they're excited about this. They're fired up.
How can you not with that main event?
Sleep.
That main event is just, it's like caffeine right in the system.
Or just plenty of chips and yogurt flowing through the, keeps us awake. I'm trying to think of anything that we didn't cover here that people would like to know about. I'm looking at the comments, not seeing anything.
We did a pretty good job. The first match of the night in the pre-show was unfortunate because apparently there was issues people getting in. The tickets, I guess, said 6:30. The show started at 5:30. So they cut to this crowd, and they cut to it like in a positive way. Look at all these people outside the Barclays Center waiting to get in. They're trying to, they were trying to show how many people, and they show this massive people. And the match starts, and I'm like, they're playing to 75 people.
Yeah.
And it was, it was the Hardy Boys with Jason Jordan versus The Miz and The Miz Taraj. They put on a great match. They're all very popular. They're great performers. But again, they were playing to what would allude to a high school gym. It was like, oh, come on. But I mean,
sad for them too, because they get excited about SummerSlam.
Absolutely.
They want to see the fans.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's one of those things like the Hardy Boys are not popular. They're pretty popular. So if you were a fan standing outside, and of course everybody's got our phones, everybody's got the WWE app, and they're sitting there like, really? The match is going on now, and I still have a good hour-long line to get through? Awesome. There goes my t-shirt money. You talked about the merch money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all those Hardy Boys fans. Sorry, you had to sit outside and watch it on your phones. But that it happens. That's one of those it happens moments. It's building. It has nothing to do with the company really.
And how about this? Eric Darris just said no Taker sightings. He was in New York, and apparently a lot of people thought he was going to show up.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
No, and this was something that myself and Liam knew about going into the pre-show. But we deliberately avoided because it was one we didn't believe. SummerSlam is the second biggest night of the year for WWE. They do a lot of fan appreciation stuff. They do a lot of signings. They do a lot of picture stuff, a lot of Make-A-Wish stuff, just a lot of community relations stuff. And it didn't surprise me when people were like, oh, Undertaker's in New York. I'm like, yeah, of course he is. He's still,
it's a big city, right?
He's still a big star for the company. Of course he's going to do stuff, but I had no anticipation of seeing him tonight. So we deliberately stayed away from it.
Maybe next time.
Well, he's retired.
All right. Well, that about covers it. We really appreciate you tuning in to That Wrestling Show. Of course, you do this every time there's a pay-per-view.
Every time there's a pay-per-view, we do it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll be invited back, but this was my first time.
Anytime. And now that you're a fan, you're going to be watching every week. Obviously,
I'm an expert.
Obviously, you're going to be setting your DVR for Raw and SmackDown, and you're going to be in here with us running down the pay-per-views. Absolutely, we'd love to have you on.
Oh, listening to your podcast. Thank you so much.
There you go. Thank you, Rachel.